When I said DEF CON 3, I didn't get an opportunity to say what that meant, but it meant I'm going to call out all these things that have been done to me specifically by Jewish people that so happen to be businessmen or businesswomen, but still it was done by Jewish people to me, to the darker Jew. Uh, and I was going to go one by one. And the reason I said it like that is just to say, I know you guys are going to call this anti-Semite, and I'm not afraid of that title. Now I'm going to lean into that title. So call me whatever you want because you call me void already. What's the definition of black? Void of color. Some people, artists may say it's all color. And it could also mean like, it's like what they did. And when I ran for office and they showed me on the TV and they like blacked my face out and they had me be void. And I think that Jewish people always will tell you about the trauma and the Holocaust. So one of my favorite lines on the Drink Champs, you actually hit me about this, is when Dove Charney said, "Hey, I want to take you to the Holocaust Museum." And I said, "I want you to go to our Holocaust Museum, Planned Parenthood." Like, we're still in the Holocaust. 6 million Jewish people died in the Holocaust. Over 20 million uh, darker Jews, Black people, have been aborted. More babies are aborted in New York at this point than born at this point. And my thing about the media, uh, the majority of the media, over 50% of the media, at least probably 80%, but over 50% of the media is run by Jewish executives, and they allow um, all of this abortion driven content that more affects um, and affects the darker Jew, the Black people, more than any other race. But then you ask the question, you can't even Google, like when you Google Jewish abortion rate, it'll be one piece of information. The next information is like from 4 years ago or something. There's no information about it. And if I attempt, my mom said trying is failing. If I fail by attempting to have a conversation with a Jewish person about the abortion rate, they won't allow the conversation to be had. That's why I said, hey, I'm me tooing the Jewish uh, race, that saying, hey, you guys got to come up and say, did you do this or did you not do this? And I'm calling a lot of times, say people feel like I'm very selfish driven because I talk about things I specifically went through. So I said, okay, well, I'm this voice for the actors, the musicians, the athletes specifically, I know are in situations where at least four of the people that they do business with are Jewish, and those people know each other, and the athletes come and go, and that 4, 5, 6, 8 people remain. The athletes come and go like cattle's in the stable. The actors come and go. The musicians come and go. And that mainstay of that Jewish, just say crew, because it sounds less ramped up than mafia, right? Than mob. Sounds less mentally ill. So let's say there is definitely a crew. And I've been there and I've been talked to certain kind of ways. And you know who else wouldn't be talked to a certain kind of way? Kobe Bryant. You don't get talked to a certain way. I don't get talked to a certain kind of way. So things that I'm saying out loud, hyped up or calmly, I'm saying things 5 times a day that Black people, leaders, not specifically Black people, just leaders throughout time, have been killed for things that we're doing 5 times a day. So one thing for the Black community and all of this like woke culture and, you know, Charlemagne and different things, it's like, bro, this is getting ridiculous at this point. People got to put some respect on the fact that I'm actually brave enough to say this out loud. Like, that's what's lit. That's what God is inside of me. That's why I feel so good to be used. You done got me to a point, y'all call me so many names. You disrespected me for 3 years. Forbes wouldn't call me a billionaire. It is important if people are calling you crazy to be like, oh, but I'm a billionaire, because it's like, it's not me being classist. It's just me fighting against that, saying, okay, you're calling me crazy, but I must be doing something right. Now I'm going to do something. I'm doing everything right. And then to reach to the concept, the idea of being the richest Black person ever. And we're just at the beginning of
That's interesting because I think what's missing in the conversation and the media trying to spin what you're saying is that you are talking about an industry where there are Jewish executives. And that's the first time I've actually heard you say Jewish executives.
Mhm.
And I think before, the way that they were trying to sort of callously interpret it was that you meant every single Jewish person in the entire world. Every person walking the street has this power. But you live, I mean, you have lived for a very long piece of your life, at least in Hollywood. And what is weird to me and where I'm trying to play catch up is that there was a piece in the LA Times written by a Jewish guy named Joel um, Stein, and he said, "Who runs Hollywood? Come on, man." And he's a Jewish guy, and he wrote about how all of the executives in Hollywood were Jewish, and that piece wasn't called anti-Semitic. But yet now, if you say that part, if you say that a lot of the executives, especially in music, I thought this was something that people knew. I've heard this in Jay-Z's music before, so I was very surprised that there was this, "Oh my god, how dare he say this?" And it's anti-Semitic for him to say this, and how can you say that, I think what you're talking about is that every piece of what you have created has been owned by a Jewish executive, and that there's a disproportionate amount of Jewish executives in Hollywood. Like if I was going to get my nails done, I might say there's disproportionate amount of Vietnamese people wearing the nail salon and speaking about the ape.
Or
I don't know what happened, but they got here and they were
disproportionate
like, "We're
amount
gonna do nails." You know what I'm
of
saying?
black people in the NBA,
Right.
disproportionate
Yeah. So why is
manufacturing.
that? Why are we allowed to say that? If I like I just said that, it's disproportionate amount of Vietnamese people doing nails, nobody would have censored that. If I said there's a disproportionate amount of Spanish people at the border.
Because the
Just
people
kidding.
who run the nail shop
But that
don't
won't get censored.
the people who run the nail shop don't run your podcast. That's it. Now
Okay.
your nails might not get done
No.
necessarily as before.
They're gonna be like, she's blowing up the industry that we're at. But
That's
that's true. And I think
that's why I say the Jewish people have bought the black
and
voice.
that's what you meant by it, is that
And
they're disproportionately represented in media. And so if something that you say that is something that they don't like, they won't allow you to have it said. That's what you meant. That's getting more specific.
okay, it's more specific, but my emotion about it as a human being, oh, as a leader, I operate at every medium from the most brash and brutal to medium and understandable to highly sophisticated. We have to operate in all those. My feeling and my emotion, because I am a human being, I'm not a robot. So if you take a woman can be scarred by men just off of one bad experience with a man.
Hmm.
Perhaps it might be a 6-year-old girl that has an experience she shouldn't have had with an uncle. And that woman ends up being a stripper or, disliking men. So imagine if that woman had that experience with 10 men, right? So I can tell you I've had 10 bad experiences with Jewish execs and these are the Jewish people I come in contact with.
Hmm.
So if that woman had that experience with 10 men, she may say this term, men are all the same. She could sing it, she could say it. And imagine if she was just like beautiful, like if she had like the face of Irina Shayk or the body of Candace Owens or the body of Kim or something like that, right? It's if this person like was just kind of stood back or like say it's like Halle Berry or something like if they just stepped back and were a bit timid to give a number out or and someone says she hates men. What do you mean all men? And would men do a whole series of 80 outline things calling she's anti-magnetic? Is she anti-magnetic
Yeah.
because of her experiences? And she allowed to have the emotion that because of her experience, now she hates, now she dislikes. I'm gonna say dislikes because it's considered to be hate speech. Like, yes, I'm at a place where I'm like, I'm not gonna talk specifically to Jewish businessmen because the Jewish businessmen are the ones who have done the things
And I've
to
heard you.
me to hurt me and to hurt my friends. Right. So now I'm talking to Jewish businessmen's families. That's why I said the Jewish people, because I'm calling the Jewish people to talk to the Jewish businessman family and say, are you doing fair deals? Or with your version of the boys club, right? This isn't the Catholic Protestant boys club. This is people that have been through pain and rose to success.
Yeah.
The Jewish business community. I need their families, their dads, grandparents, wives, children to ask them, are you doing fair deals by God? Because yes, we do have Zionist Jews and we have godly, take Friday and Saturday off Jews, right? Jewish people. Um, and as Jay, in my position, I'm one of the darker Jews, Black people's most loved by Jewish people, Blacks, period. Like for 20 years. So that's the reason why God put me in this position. You know, when with the, I have to word it the right way, but with 2024, uh, coming 2 years from now, whoever goes into whoever ends up into office by 2024 has to bring the country together. There's no more of this divide. So that means the funny thing about the Jewish media is I have their attention. They love me. They always love me. I have their attention.